Welcome to the Fantasy Football Forge. My name is Steve, and it's time for the tight end rankings. I am doing all of my videos earlier on than normal this week, and probably going to be everything just a little bit shorter, a little bit quicker. If you would like to know my schedule, beginning of the quarterbacks video, other videos all have that included. So let's just get right on to this. First of all, way over on the left here, you'll see some light shading. That's basically my tiers. Obviously, when it changes color, that moves you on to the next tier. Then over here is the difficulty rating. Red is good, blue is bad. So Gerald Everett this week going up against Arizona is a really good rating. I will be talking about some of the players who I have the biggest differences on compared to the ECR, that is the expert consensus ranking. That is from Fantasy Pros website. Let's start with the top 12 tight ends. At number 1, I have Travis Kelce, followed by Mark Andrews, Pat Freiermuth, TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, Dalton Schultz, Greg Dulcich, David Njoku, Gerald Everett, Evan Ingram, Juwan Johnson, and to wrap up the top 12, I have Tyler Higbee at number 12 currently. These rankings are subject to change as more information is gathered throughout the week. These are my preliminary rankings. I will also have projections done, which will help shape the rankings, and all of my projections go up onto the website normally on Thursday, but this week I'll get them up there on Wednesday night, so that way they can help you out with those Thursday games, which is why my schedule is funky this week. So the first player that we'll have a little chat about, David Njoku, I think part of... Actually, I don't know why. I'm 15 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR is 23 on him. I have him at number 8. I still have faith in David. It wasn't a good week this last week. Got out-targeted, out-caught by Harrison Bryant, but I don't think that's something that's there to stay. And so, yeah, I like him in an all-right matchup there against Tampa Bay. Then Gerald Everett, I have 9 spots ahead of the ECR. I have him at 9. The ECR is 18 on him. And this is definitely going to be in part because he didn't play last week. So if and when he is considered to be healthy enough to be playing this week, once he's in, he'll obviously be moving up from that number 18 spot. Could move back in the meantime, depending on how the news goes throughout the week. And that is a very good matchup there against Arizona. So no reason not to like that, especially if Mike Williams is out. That just helps increase his target share all the more. Then Evan Ingram, I have 5 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR on him is 15. I have him at 10. It's not a super awesome matchup against Baltimore. I'm trying to find a way to get a few of these guys down further. I think this is going to be a pretty darn good week for tight ends. There's quite a few. As you can see, the second tier actually goes all the way to tight end 17. And I don't even hate some of those other guys in the next tier, but just have some less confidence in them. So, yeah, as far as Evan Ingram goes, he's gotten a solid target share a lot this season, and so I expect that to continue this week. Now let's move on to my tight end 2s, which starts at tight end 13 with Cole Kmet, followed by Dawson Knox, Foster Moreau, Taysom Hill, Logan Thomas, Hayden Hurst, Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, Tyler Conklin, Robert Tonyan, Jonnu Smith, and Trey McBride to wrap it all up at tight end 24. Taysom Hill is one guy that I'm trying to move up. So I have him 15 spots ahead of the current ECR. The current ECR on him was 31. I have him at 16. I am not sure why he was so far back in the ECR, to be perfectly honest, and may have to move him up depending on the news. I heard from, I think it was the Fantasy Footballers this morning, that New Orleans said something about getting Taysom Hill more involved, and they were talking like they meant as a quarterback. And so obviously there's a lot of value to having a quarterback, even part-time, in at a tight end spot. Even those 3 passes last week almost turned out to be very, very good for him. So it's something to keep our eyes on as far as how high to potentially move Taysom Hill, what that news looks like. But not a bad guy to grab if he's out on your waiver wires as a potential, really ultimately league winner if he were to become the actual quarterback there again in New Orleans. Then Hayden Hurst, I have 6 spots behind the ECR. I have him at 18. The ECR is 16 on him. I think that's just leftovers from last week. I'm not sure why the ECR would be that high on him. I know that they were high up on him last week as far as the ranking goes. So that's why I suspect a little hangover. Not a great matchup there. Then Mike Gesicki going up against Houston and Tyler Conklin going up against Chicago. So I actually moved Gesicki up ahead of Tyler Conklin at the last second here. So I have Gesicki 5 spots ahead of the ECR. I've met 20. ECR and M's 25. Then Conklin, I have 7 spots behind the ECR. The ECR and M is 14, so I have him at 21. I moved him up because of this, the difference in the matchup. You know, who am I expecting to have more touchdown opportunities, the Dolphins against Houston or the New York Jets against Chicago? Probably the Dolphins against Houston. This comes down to hoping for that touchdown opportunity is the big difference here. Then Robert Tonyan, I have 6 spots behind the ECR. The ECR and I'm 16, so I have him at 22nd. Going up against Philadelphia, not a great matchup, but I had him higher and moved him down as I moved other guys up, so he just kind of got leapfrogged by others. I didn't necessarily move him down because I absolutely hate him this week. I don't think he's a terrible option there going up against Philadelphia, just because there should be, Philly should be able to put up some points against Green Bay, and then that should give Green Bay some opportunities, if nothing else, in that fourth quarter if they're behind a lot. Always possible. Then Jonnu Smith, I have 10 spots ahead of the ECR. The ECR number is 33rd. I have him at 23rd. Won't be surprised if the experts start to catch on to this, as this is now, I think, a 4-week or 3, at least, I think it's a 4-week trend of Jonnu Smith over Hunter Henry. So in a good tight end matchup, I moved Jonnu Smith up to this point, 23rd in my rankings, followed by Trey McBride. And then the bottom 12 tight ends, we don't really need to talk too much, but I did want to bring up one since he's in the top 20 for the experts. But here we go. Austin Hooper, Cade Otton, Will Dissly, Hunter Henry, Harrison Bryant, Kylan Granson, Jordan Akins. And from Will Dissly to Jordan Akins is my next tier of, like, I don't want to play these guys, but I don't really care about the matchup. Like, they're okay guys to toss out there. Maybe Harrison Bryant I would have the least faith of, actually. Then Cameron Brate, James Mitchell, Brock Wright, Chico Okonkwo, Isaiah Likely are all at the bottom here. And like I said, the only one to really talk about here. Well, Isaiah Likely, once again, this should probably hang over from last week's rankings. 2 looks evident to be, as Mark Andrews is back, and Isaiah Likely didn't do anything last week. But Austin Hooper here, 5 spots behind the ECR. I have him at 25. The ECR and him's 20th. Cold, bad matchup against Cincinnati. Don't go gaga over last week's performance. I mean, that's an awesome performance, but that's 1 week out of 11 weeks there. So yeah, those are my tight end rankings. I'll get you the top 10 there one more time as I say goodbye. Previous quarterback video came out earlier this evening, and in the morning wide receiver running back videos will come out. So whenever you're viewing these, those are all going to be available to you to check on out. Thank you very much. Peace out. Goodbye. I will now move on to the wide receivers and running backs.